All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tackling a massive challenge that businesses everywhere are facing: operationalizing AI. It's all about how you take AI from just a promising concept into a real value-generating part of your operations. So let's get to it.
You hear it all the time, right? AI is going to revolutionize everything. But let's get real for a sec. An incredible number of these projects, some say as high as 85%, they just fizzle out. They never actually deliver. So the big question is, why? And maybe more importantly, how do you make sure your project is one of the ones that actually succeeds? Okay, so to really get a handle on the challenges, we first have to understand what's actually at stake here. Let's talk about the incredible potential that's driving all this investment in AI in the first place. Because believe me, it is so much more than just a buzzword. When you boil it all down, AI creates real, tangible business value in two main ways. First, by cutting costs, and second, by helping us make much, much smarter decisions. Let's start with the money-saving part. So when we talk about cutting costs with AI, there are really two powerful strategies. On the one hand, you've got augment and replace. This is the classic automation play. Think about all the tedious manual work like processing insurance claims. AI can do that faster, cheaper, and with fewer errors. Then, on the other hand, you have predict and prevent. This is, a bit more sophisticated. It's about stopping costs before they even happen. A great example is predictive maintenance for solar panels, using AI to know exactly when they need cleaning, so you only send out those robotic cleaners when you absolutely have to. That's a huge saving. And this is where AI helps us make better decisions. We're moving way beyond simple dashboards that just show you what happened. We're talking about systems that can dig in and find the real root cause of a problem. We're talking about large language models that can collaborate with your team and AI that can give trustworthy advice in really critical situations. All of this just frees up your people to focus on the big picture stuff that really matters. Okay, so if AI can save money and make us smarter, why on earth are so many projects failing? Well, it turns out the reasons things go wrong usually fall into three big buckets. First up, we've got the foundational challenge, the technology itself and the data that fuels it. You can think of these as the digital dragons that you have to tame before you can even get started. The problem isn't just about having enough data. It's about having the right data. AI projects get completely bogged down because of bad data quality or not having labeled examples to train on. Or maybe the data is scattered all over the place, in different formats. Then you layer on privacy concerns and the insane costs of storage and infrastructure, and it's really no wonder so many great ideas never leave the lab. But here's the thing. Even if you had the most perfect data and the best technology in the world, you'd still run into another massive barrier: the human element, the people and the processes inside your organization. And this whole challenge is captured perfectly by a concept called the adoption paradox. Just because these incredibly powerful AI models are out there and available doesn't automatically mean that companies can actually use them in a meaningful way. So, what is the adoption paradox? Well, it's that super frustrating gap between having access to amazing AI tools and actually being able to use them effectively. If your company doesn't have the right internal skills or the right rules and governance or just isn't operationally ready, the project is basically doomed. It's like being handed a Formula One engine when what you really need is a family car. The power is useless without the right chassis around it. And if the data and people problems weren't enough, there's a third major hurdle we have to talk about: security. AI brings a whole new world of risks to the table that companies have to be ready for. You can't just launch a model and cross your fingers. And we are not talking about your standard cybersecurity issues here. This is a whole new ballgame. We're talking about things like adversarial attacks that are specifically designed to fool an AI model into making a disastrous mistake, or model inversion attacks that can actually steal the private data that the model was trained on. And in safety-critical systems, a model that isn't robust can have truly dire consequences. These aren't just IT problems. These are fundamental business risks. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problems, and it can sound pretty daunting, I know. But here's the good news. These challenges are not insurmountable. So now let's shift gears from problems to solutions. This is your toolkit for making that AI breakthrough happen. This is where it gets really interesting, connecting the hurdles directly to their solutions. Worried about data privacy? There's a brilliant technique called federated learning, where you train the model on data right where it lives, without ever having to move sensitive information. It's a game changer. Struggling with trust and governance? That's where explainable AI, or XAI, comes in.
It helps you peek inside that black box to understand why the AI is making its decisions. And for those real-time control and latency issues, a hybrid edge/cloud setup gives you the best of both worlds, local speed and cloud power.
Now, technology is one piece of the puzzle, but you also need a rock-solid game plan for your organization. And that's what this roadmap is. Step 1, you have to establish clear governance from the get-go. Then you bring in MLOps, which is basically the same kind of discipline and automation that modern software teams use, but for machine learning. Next, you do a staged rollout, starting small with a human always in the loop. And finally, you have to track the right metrics, things like ROI, downtime, mean time to recovery, to actually prove the value you're creating.
So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Success isn't just about cooking up a clever algorithm in a lab. The real goal, the thing that separates success from failure, is building a reliable, integrated, and well-governed system that your business can actually depend on, day in and day out. So I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. You can have the most advanced, most powerful AI model in the world sitting on your server, but the ultimate question, the one that really matters, isn't about the technology. It's about your people, your processes, and your strategy. So, is your organization truly ready?